What's going on, my fellow Jedi and Padawans? Welcome back to another Jedi gaming video. Thank you guys so much for coming back to the channel, and if you guys are new, welcome. Now today we're going to be going over one of our last brave weaponries with the Hongzhi SR4. This thing is a scout rifle in our kinetic slot with that precision frame, so it is a very straight shooting scout rifle for both PvE as well as PvP. So we are going to cover both of those god rolls for you, starting with the origin trait on this bad boy in Indomitability. So this is going to be super clutch inside of the final shape, in my opinion, because of its potential to give us back our abilities. Whether we are using our darkness or light subclass, we're getting our grenade or melee back. So it's going to be very good origin trait, like I said, for that content with the final shape. Now, starting us off in the PvE side of things, I'm actually going to go with minor spec on this one. You could go with that boss spec if you would like, but definitely using this for some of its perks where we are getting those defeats on some of those lower tier enemies for that ad clear potential, and that 8% isn't adding up too much on the boss damage, so we are going with minor spec. For our masterwork, I'm going to go with stability or reload for PvE. Got enough range, got enough handling with the perks that we have on. Aren't going to need reloading as much, so that's why I went with stability, so we can really keep this thing a laser beam at far distances. So our first barrel that we're going to get is the small boy right here, giving us that 7 in stability, 7 in range. Definitely the best for this category. If you're looking for a little bit of extra range, since we are already at a base of 70, you could go with Hammer Forge. It gives us only that +3 to that range compared to small bore, so I like the combination of +7 instability and range inside of small bore instead of Hammer Forged. On to the magazines. We got 2 of them for you. Tactical mag is our first one, gives us that 10 reload, 5 stability, and an extra shot in the magazine. Definitely what I think is the best option for this category. Your second option is appended mag. Just get an extra bullet, so it's 2 in the magazine. Don't get any of that addition to reload or stability, so definitely like tactical mag way better. Moving on to our third column, got this bad boy right here with rewind rounds. I really like this if we had kinetic tremors in the fourth column instead of the third, because you can just repeatedly shoot like the supremacy sniper from the Last Wish. But this rewind is very good at just keeping up consistent damage on those enemies, because we get a certain amount of ammo back from the reserves based on the number of hits that we get. So it is probably my #1 choice in this category for this weapon. My second choice in the third category is Kinetic Tremor. Sustained kinetic damage emits a shockwave that damages nearby targets. I love this thing. Like I said, on the snipers, it only takes 3 shots. On scout rifles, it only takes 6, so it's very easy to get procced, and it does do a decent amount of good shockwave damage when it hits, so this is my second choice for the third column. Last but not least, in the third column, we got Shoot to Loot. Very good for picking up those orbs of power as well as ammo from the arena that you are in, especially when it is hot and heavy. You got to keep behind cover. In some of that GM content, you can just go around, use this weapon to pick up all of your ammo, get your supers back a little bit easier because of it, but I definitely don't use it as much as I should. It is a slept on perk for sure, and definitely situational. As for the fourth column, got 3 very good options. Totally up to you. I like One for All a lot because of that 35% increase to damage just by hitting separate targets. So this is easily one of the best perks in the column for a scout rifle like this. Taking it into Onslaught, stuff like that, very easy to hit 3 separate targets. Now this Firefly right here is one of the reasons why I picked that minor spec. With those precision defeats with the weapon, we are getting reload and cause the target to explode, dealing solar damage to nearby enemies. So it is a very good ad clear weapon and keeping those enemies at bay. Even when you get it on those stronger weapons, it is a nice little explosion that we are getting. So I think Firefly is a good backup to One for All on this weapon. Last option for PvE right here, making it the explosive payload, giving us that AoE detonation on those combatants. So in PvE, total damage is increased by 15% for the body shot. For crits overall, it's about 15% as well, so it is a good damage perk as well on this weapon. I personally like One for All a little bit better, but when you got the combination of rewind rounds plus something like explosive payload, or even that One for All, you are able to just continuously shoot. So definitely throwing this thing in like the good 4 or 5 category, just like it was back in its original drops. So definitely get to grinding this bad boy out. When we move on to PvP, this thing does also slap pretty hard, especially when you're using something like a Warlock or even a Rally Barricade on Titan, Invisible Hunter, something like that, staying away from the fight. Counterbalance stock is what we are going for our weapon mod, giving us that plus 15 in recoil direction, giving us a 90 on recoil, letting us shoot basically straight up and down, a little bit of flinch. Same deal within the Crucible. Stability is what I would go with for your masterwork. You could go with handling if you would like, just to switch on and off with the weapon a little bit better, but I like the stability of it, having it as high as we can possibly go. Now for me, one option in this category is small bore, getting that 7 stability, 7 range. You could go with Hammer Forge, which gives you plus 3 inside of the range. Compared to this, it's only plus 10 to range, so I really like small bore over Hammer Forged with the double stability range extra. Coming in right here with our magazines, we got accurized rounds as our first option. Increased range for the weapon, giving us a nice 66 on that, making it feel like a laser beam from that far distance, especially with our 3rd and 4th column perks. Now, like I said, with that 3rd and 4th column, we got no distractions as our first column. In the 3rd one right here, aiming this weapon for a short duration reduces the flinch, so we're getting 35% flinch resistance after 1 second ADS, which is a good amount of resistance actually. And with the combination of the perks that we have in the 4th column with the range and stability on this, having no distractions on turns this into a straight up laser beam, and it just feels so crispy. Second option is rapid hit right here. Rapid precision hits temporarily increases stability and reload for the weapon, so you can see the different stacks that we get, up to 5 with stability and reload, maxing out at 25 for stability and that 60 in reload. So it is a nice little thing to have on to increase our stability, specifically giving us almost 100 on that. So again, another way to turn this into a laser beam, but I do like no distractions a little bit more. 4th column, we got 3 different options for you to round out this god roll guide, with box breathing as our first one. Pairs very well with no distractions. Aiming down the sights for a short period of time grants us that increase in range as well as precision bonus damage, so it is a beautiful combination of those 2 perks. About a 10% increase in aim assist, and we get that precision multiplier, which is a great way to go with this weapon. So I think that is personally one of my favorite combos for the PvP side of things. No distractions, box breathing is absolutely disgusting. Second option for y'all is precision instrument, dealing that sustained damage increases your precision damage, so you can see the different stocks that we get on this bad boy. Down low, stacking up to ×5, which is that 25% increase to damage on this, so definitely comes into handy within the Crucible. Rapid hit, no distractions, doesn't matter which one you are using on that. Compared to something like box breathing, no distractions is a match made in heaven, but precision is a great alternate in my opinion. And last but certainly not least, explosive payload. Once again, insane for the flinch inside of the Crucible. That's why it says don't even want to talk about it, because it is a wild little AoE effect. The flinch is kind of disgusting when you are getting hit with it, so it is a nice perk to have on a scout rifle, hand cannon, anything like that, just to really irritate those fellow guardians. So very good perks that we have on this weapon. Gonna give this also about a 4 or 5 inside of the Crucible. Very good weapon in both realms of the game. Like I said, about a 4 or 5 in each of the categories. PvE, PvP, totally depends on your gameplay style and what you are going into, but I do love having this as my Kinetic Scout Rifle that I use most of the time, especially since we don't have too many other options that aren't exotics for really really good Kinetic Scout Rifles. So definitely get this bad boy, grab it from our Onslaught and Shacks in the Hall of Champions over there. Grind yourself out the god rolls. Got a lot of content to finish up before the final shape, which is coming so quickly. So again, I appreciate all you guys for coming back to the channel. We are getting ready for some banging videos to come out. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Slap that bell if you haven't, to make sure you get those notifications on all these god rolls as well as the builds that we make, so you don't miss out on any of the content. Again, I'll appreciate all y'all. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.